The Olympics this year, for some reason, just weren't a vibe, at least for me and circles that I run in. However, someone did crack the code to accrue 4 million views on Olympics content, and that is by screenshotting the bodies of Olympic athletes and then parading them around the algorithm under the guise of body positivity. We know that healthy looks different on different bodies, but do we even know if these athletes are healthy? Do we even know if they love their bodies and accept their bodies, forcing them into the spotlight to be body positivity exemplars when no one even asked them, is it healthy to do what you do? Do you feel healthy? Do you feel like the best version of yourself? Olympic athletes represent the extremes of strength, training, dedication. As part of focusing on very specific skills and abilities, Olympic athletes tend to not be well-rounded, and their training routine, for example, is not something that would be healthy for a normal person to do.
The athletes of Etiri Tutberidze are known as one and dones because of how hard she pushes them at such a young age, and their bodies can literally not go anymore. A lot of her students retire when they're still teenagers and are left with chronic injuries, EDs, mental trauma, and so much more.
If you want to see the training schedule for an Olympian with 5 months to go until the Olympics, let me show you. All up, we spend 4.5 hours in the pool every day, plus an hour of gym on top of that.
Now, what if you say no? This is actually very inspiring because it is showing that people of all body types can be Olympic athletes and can achieve great things.
For like in the past and still now sometimes, it's always focused on how we look or how we dress or what we do, and actually it's not about the things that we achieve and the things that the impacts we have on people. There's women in this world that have such incredible impacts on the world, and sometimes it's always overshadowed by how they look.
I honestly don't need to know the full range of waist circumference or muscle tone variation of Olympic athletes to prove, to understand that all bodies are capable of incredible things. I couldn't believe that a quiz like this already exists, and it says, celebrate your stubby legs, your spider monkey arms, and your giant feet. Nearly everybody has Olympic traits. That's honestly hilarious. Nearly everybody. Also, is this what body positivity looks like? Celebrating the list of body parts that you have deemed to be conventionally unattractive? These questions made me ask myself, do I have long arms or am I a T-Rex? With the final results telling me that I do share physical characteristics with certain sports, but that it doesn't guarantee that I'll actually be good in any of them. So that's great. Not only is this an unhelpful comment for people actually going through body dysmorphia, it also sends the wrong message. Are you going to be telling kids not to take part in a sport that is dominated by a specific body type? This whole trend doesn't alleviate the problem of hyperfixation on women's bodies and how different or similar they are to perceived beauty standards. Depending on who you talk to, a category such as Victoria's Secret models are considered the pinnacle of beauty standards in our society, and yet no one would argue that the women who make for great Victoria's Secret angels would probably make for really poor athletes.
It's always so fascinating to me to look at Olympic athletes and their bodies and to look at which muscles make them so good at their sport. Here's a chart of a few different women competing in different Olympic events over the years, and you can see right here we got a 5'1", 105-pound weightlifter. As you can see, she's got very muscular legs and an upper body that help her with a clean snatch and jerk, I think it is, versus someone her same size right here, but she's a rhythmic gymnast, obviously needing to be very light on her feet.
Now, the first video that I saw of these also included the 69-year-old Mary Hannah, who is an alternate on the Australian equestrian team, which was in fact a very fun fact for me because, to put it bluntly, body type was not something new. Many people age out of the Olympics before they even turn 18, and Mary Hannah is actually competing in her 7th Olympic Games, 28 years of Olympics. She is quoted as saying, "Nobody in horse sport ever mentions my age. It's only when I get out of horse sport that people mention it and think it's a bit odd. But young or old, it doesn't make a difference. If you're fit or healthy, you can just keep going." So from this, we can conclude that older athletes can be competitive for longer in sports that don't require the joint flexibility of your 20s or explosive power. The reason why this trend gives me the ick, because it's not inspiring if you are just clicking through images of bodies without any backstory, without hearing the voices of these athletes, of their struggles and what they overcame to get to where they are. Like the fact that Mary Hannah had squamous cell carcinoma, which is a type of skin cancer, removed from her face only last year. She wrote, Scans show it traveled up a nerve. I will now undergo 6 weeks of daily radiation treatment and weekly chemotherapy. She also dealt with a persistent back injury throughout her career, having undergone surgery for a herniated disc that took half of a year of rehab to heal. How much more powerful becomes her story with just that little bit of context of what she has dealt with at age 68 to get to where she is now at 69. I recently listened to a podcast interviewing Lynn Slater, who essentially became this older woman fashion icon, and she calls herself the accidental icon. She spent the first 47 years of her career as a social worker, got into fashion, started blogging, blew up, and wrote a book called How to Be Old. But to put in my words, what I got from her podcast is that she really didn't appreciate being called out on her age every time people referred to her content. It wasn't just that she had great style, it was that she was old and had great style. And in the same way, many people are not like, hey, Mary Hannah is just super cool. They're like Googling who's the oldest woman at the Olympics, and then it's like, oh, it's Mary Hannah. She's 69. That's a fun fact. She is old. The body is just a body. It is a vehicle for us to enact great change, to inspire both ourselves and others. And it gives me the ick to see these women paraded around on Instagram, with maybe one exception. Honestly, standing ovation, because I think all of us can aspire to be like this at age 100, no matter what your body type is. Guys, watch me compete in 70 years. I'll be there. I'll see you there.